Hey guys, everybody, I'm Bailey from 1 o'clock for the video here, so Bailey here. So today this video was a reaction to a video of a JTVideo Rebooted MCU VC. Here, but which I'm looking forward to this name, but JTVideo Rebooted MCU gonna be end, but it's gonna be sad. But it's good time, it's good time enjoying our life in a Rebooted MCU. Yeah. So I just finish with my lunch and to understand my favorite lunch. So anyway, so we're not for talking right now, so we're gonna do let's start reaction.
Welcome back to Rebooted MCU. Today we are here with the finale of Phase 8 of Rebooted MCU. I know this has been a long time coming and we have two fantastic projects to jump into, so let's not waste any time and get right into the final two projects of Phase 8. The 9th project of Phase 8 is Spider-Woman, and it takes place in Universe 2038. The project opens in New York City, where we are briefed on what has transpired since the events of the Young Avengers. NYC has been terrorized by the Magia, the new underground criminal organization that has begun attacking civilians in broad daylight, leading to widespread public terror, which has resulted in the number of active police officers dropping by 70%. In order to address the uptick in crime, NYC Mayor Luke Cage, played by Mike Coulter, has begun relying heavily on heroes to pick up the slack. Heroes such as Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, played by Daisy Ridley, and Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man, played by Dallas Dupree Young, who opened the project taking down one of the final remaining crime lords of the Magia, Hammerhead, played by Thomas Ian Griffith, along with help from NYPD officers Stacey Dolan, played by Jordana Brewster, and Darius Kimbrough, played by Melvin Gregg. While this appears to be a major victory for NYC, this is revealed to have been an elaborate scheme by the leader of the Magia, Caesar Cicero, aka Big C, played by John Tudoro. Big C and Alonzo Lincoln, aka Tombstone, played by Crondon, the lone remaining crime lord, discovered that a secret informant has been feeding information to Mayor Cage and the NYPD. So in order to counter this, Big C began secretly feeding false information to various underground channels, including secret code words and phrases that only the most loyal Magia faithful would be able to understand. This has allowed Tombstone to continue his arms smuggling operation and has placed Big C in a prime position to eliminate the secret informant after narrowing down the possible suspects. In order to do this, Big C has assembled a group of powered individuals, which he calls the second iteration of the Lethal Legion. Rita Demara, aka Yellow Jacket, played by Jazara Jaslin. Lancaster Sneed, aka Shockwave, played by Daniel Ings. Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth, played by Alexander Ludwig. And the most important member of the operation, Officer Darius Kimbrough, who is revealed to be Dmitry Smerdakov, aka the Chameleon, played by Cliff Curtis. As it turns out, Dmitry killed Officer Kimbrough several months back and has been going undercover in order to potentially get a chance at learning the identity of a secret informant, a prospect that seems all but guaranteed thanks to his involvement in bringing down Hammerhead. Big C's gamble appears to pay off as Spider-Woman is informed by Mayor Cage the following day that she, Officer Kimbrough, Officer Dolan, and Bucky Barnes, aka Captain America, by Sebastian Stan, will be responsible for transporting the secret informant to a new safe house. This assignment allows us to get insight into Jessica Drew and what she has been struggling with. Since the death of Peter Parker, she has had nightmares about her childhood, the experiments her father performed on her, finding out her father had been killed, and Peter's sacrifice in the coming of Galactus. This has not only caused Jessica to have a hard time sleeping at night, but has also caused a strain on her relationship with Miles, who feels that Jessica treats him more like a younger brother than as a partner, something Jessica discovers after Miles requests to be taken off the Magia assignment. The rift with Miles causes Jessica to feel isolated, as she repeatedly rejects attempts by Bucky to form a partnership during their assignment. On the night the group planned to transport the secret informant, the informant's identity is revealed to be James Wesley, played by Toby Leonard Moore, the former chief of staff to Wilson Fisk. On the ride to the new safe house, Wesley reveals that he decided to help Mayor Cage out of his undying loyalty to Wilson, the man he considers his best friend and the man whose empire he refused to see taken over by an unworthy successor. The transport operation is turned upside down when the Lethal Legion attacks, which leads to both Spider-Woman and Captain America being nearly defeated thanks to the surprise attack. While Jessica, Bucky, and Dolan are all injured, Wesley is in critical condition, having been shot by Chameleon, and is only alive thanks to the arrival of Sam Wilson, aka Falcon Mackie, who is able to drive the Lethal Legion away. As Cage orders Wesley to be rushed to the hospital, Jessica falls deeper into despair as she reflects on being incapable of keeping those she loves around. Also, failing to keep them protected. For if she couldn't protect Wesley, how could she protect someone like Miles. The incident with Wesley causes Jessica to open up to Bucky, talking with him about how he manages to trust Sam in situations where he can't ensure his partner's protection. Bucky encourages Jessica to change her mindset, saying that having a partner isn't about protecting them. It's about having their back the same way that they have yours. Choosing to be a hero is inherently risky and involves a conscious decision to place your life on the line, but not placing trust in your partner not only clouds your judgment in the heat of your job, it also takes away from the risk your partner made to risk it all for the sake of others.
I'm all in for Cancer Research UK's Race for Life. Who's with me?
All in against cancer.
Go curate for cash on Vinted. Don't use it, sell it.
As Jessica reflects on this, Cage informs the group that Wesley will survive thanks to the medical acumen of Claire Temple, aka Night Nurse, played by Amanda Stenberg. But for the time being, the three of them need to discuss the possible motivations of the Maggia, as without the informant, Cage is as good as blind when it comes to preparing for what the criminal organization could be scheming. As Luke, Jessica, and Bucky discuss the actions taken by the Maggia in order to figure out their bigger plan, we see Big C celebrating Wesley's downfall with Tombstone and the Lethal Legion. As Tombstone confirms that all the Maggia's arms have been smuggled to the correct groups, Big C officially announces that the Day of Destiny has arrived. We are then given some background into Big C and his underlying motivations, a feeling of inadequacy stemming from claims of nepotism that have been levied against him since he was a child. Caesar was introduced to Giuseppe Nefaria, played by Joe Pesci, by his father at a young age, and eventually worked his way to become the right-hand man of Luchino Nefaria. Despite all of Caesar's hard work, he would often not get recognized for his talents, as many within the Maggia felt the only reason he got to where he is today solely came from his father having an in with Giuseppe, a prospect made more difficult thanks to the rise of Wilson Fisk, a man many regarded as building his own criminal empire without any help in the process. In order to show his brilliance, Caesar concocted a plan for the Maggia's Day of Destiny, a day in which the Maggia will truly announce their arrival to New York and cement themselves as a true criminal power the likes of which has never been seen before. We then watch as Big C leads a group of Maggia henchmen, including Tombstone, to storm the Daily Bugle building, taking J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, hostage and demanding to be broadcasted to the city. As Jameson complies, Big C officially introduces himself to New York City and welcomes everyone to the Maggia's Day of Destiny, revealing that the Maggia has partnered with all smaller crime families around New York and have supplied them with weaponry in order for all of them to participate in a coordinated attack on all civilians, law enforcement officers, and anyone who attempts to stand in their way. In his speech, Big C draws a distinction between himself and the previous two men that attacked New York. Unlike Mr. Fear, the nightmares that everyone will experience aren't visions brought on by a powerful gas, but something more frightening: reality. And unlike Fisk, he didn't pay his way to the top. He got to the top by becoming a symbol that will be transformed into the new kingpin of crime. As long as he is alive, he will serve as a beacon of light for the Maggia, signaling for them to continue killing, robbing, and stealing, until New York crumbles and the Maggia's empire has been solidified. As New York City descends into chaos, we watch as NYPD Commissioner Misty Knight, played by Simone Missick, interrupts a meeting between Luke, Jessica, and Bucky and informs them of what has transpired, causing the three to leap into action. Luke worries that the widespread chaos might lead to the fall of the city, but Jessica tells him not to worry, as she and Bucky will take down the beacon that has started this mess, as she and Captain America head towards the Daily Bugle building. Across the city, we watch as the Maggia clashes with a few remaining members of the NYPD and various heroes who have stepped in to protect the city. These heroes include Daredevil, played by Elodie Young, Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, Jessica Jones, played by Kirsten Ritter, Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, played by McKenyu, Colleen Wing, played by Jessica Henwick, Ava Ayala, aka White Tiger, played by Allegra Acosta, and S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Ava Starr, played by Hannah John Kamen, who laments about the Young Avengers being preoccupied helping Carol broker peace in space and not being here to help keep the peace in New York City. Some of the major fights that take place are Colleen Wing and Misty Knight teaming up to take down Yellow Jacket, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones teaming up to take down Tombstone, and Captain America and Falcon fighting Chameleon in order to give Spider-Woman time to bring down Big C. As Spider-Woman makes her way inside the Daily Bugle building, she is confronted by Shockwave, and after evading his powerful electric blast, she is given an assist by Spider-Man, who swings in and temporarily disables his armor with his webbing. Jessica attempts to have a brief conversation with Miles, apologizing for being clingy, but the apology is cut off by Miles, who says that apologies from them both can be saved for after they have won. For now, his focus is ensuring his partner can get to Big C and end the conflict. With this, Spider-Woman smiles and continues towards the top of the building as Spider-Man resumes his fight with Shockwave. When Jessica finally reaches Big C, she attempts to take him down but is stopped by Sabretooth, who leaps at her as the two engage in battle. Sabretooth's impressive power begins to overwhelm Spider-Woman as Big C begins to taunt her, claiming that the age of the Magia has finally arrived and there is nobody capable of toppling their empire. As Spider-Woman begins to struggle, she slowly has visions of everyone who relies on her. Miles, Luke, Bucky, and attempts to fight back. But even her resolve is not enough to overpower the impressive might of Sabretooth. As Sabretooth prepares to end Spider-Woman, we watch as Miles webs away his claws, which gives Spider-Woman an opening to shoot a strong venom blast at Sabretooth, incapacitating him and allowing her to bring down Big C, with his defeat being broadcast to all of the Magia's allies, officially ending the Magia's Day of Destiny in total failure. The ending of the project shows Mayor Cage launch a new initiative to clean up the city, a proposal that gets praise from across New York as the city returns to relative normalcy following the events of the project. Spider-Woman and Miles make up and agree to officially join the Avengers with Captain America and Falcon. The events of the project have caused Bucky to realize that the Avengers shouldn't exclusively be used for world-ending events and should instead focus their efforts on helping humanity wherever and whenever they can. The ending of the project shows Captain America, Falcon, Spider-Man, and Spider-Woman being dispatched to help with the shipment issue in New York's harbor as we see Spider-Woman do something for the first time in the entire project: smile. In the first post-credit scene, we watch as raft warden Clay Quartermain, played by George McKay, throws Big C to a cell on the second level of the raft, the level where low-danger prisoners are kept, telling Big C to get along with his new cellmate as he walks away. As Big C complains about the dull surroundings, a voice echoes from the shadows of the cell. When I was a boy, I beat my father's skull with a hammer. I was 12 years old, young for my age, terribly inexperienced. Yet, there I was, 12 years old, standing over my father's body, watching him die by my hand. That feeling, that moment, led me to become the man I am today. I have never been much of a sentimental man. I built my empire, remained firm in my ideals, and did everything I could to harness every last drop of power I could. Yet, even when I thought I had lost all humanity, it turns out even a monster like me can feel anger for another. Big C watches as a man walks out of the shadows, revealed to be Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, by Vincent D'Onofrio, who shakes angrily. I didn't have many friends, but the one, most loyal friend I had was Wesley. Mr. Cicero, you attempted to overtake my empire, take credit for my hard work, and for that, I forgive you. But attempting to kill Wesley, that I cannot overlook. In a blind rage, you watch as Kingpin leaps at Big C and chokes him to death, as Ave Maria by Franz Schubert plays in the background.
A catfish hiding in plain sight.
Who the hell were we talking to?
A beauty queen turned detective.
We're gonna find out who the hell.
In the second post-credit scene, we cut inside of a new pocket dimension where we see Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, played by Elizabeth Olsen, Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, played by Dev Patel, Billy Maximoff, aka Wiccan, played by Joe Locke, and Tommy Maximoff, aka Steve, played by Jacob Tremblay, are all training and honing their skills and abilities. We learn from Billy that Wanda's chaos powers have expanded to the point where she was able to create a new pocket dimension and expresses his desire to be taught how to do this in the future. Tommy tells Billy that it must be hard for their mother to concentrate with all of his yapping, when suddenly, we watch Wanda gasp as she breaks her concentration. Simon asks Wanda if she is okay, and she says there is nothing to worry about. But as we listen to her internal monologue, she reveals that she has sensed powerful beings on the move, and shortly there will be a clash that could place the fate of the world on the line. She expresses her sadness for not being able to aid in the conflict, and says a prayer for the one man capable of protecting the Prime Dimension, her former mentor, Dr. Strange. The 10th project, Phase 8, is Midnight Sun. It takes place in Universe 2039. The project opens on a flashback as we see famed monster hunter Ulysses Bloodstone, played by Michael McElligott, and his sidekick Brad Carter, played by Ian Mackin, walking up to Bran Castle, where they are confronted by Dracula, played by Anthony Starr. The fight between the three is anticlimactic, as Dracula absolutely ravages the two hunters. But in the waning seconds of the fight, Ulysses buys enough time for Carter to escape, handing him the Bloodstone wrapped in pages of the Darkhold, telling Carter to bring these artifacts to his daughter Elsa. She will be the one to complete his hunt. As Carter scurries off, Ulysses laughs in the face of Dracula, telling him that he might not achieve victory today, but soon he will see him in hell. And as Dracula slices off his head, we cut to the present day as we see Elsa Bloodstone, played by Laura Donnelly, clutching the Bloodstone as she suddenly hears a voice telling her that she must act now, for if she remains idle, the world will meet its end. A startled Elsa tells Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night, played by Gael Garcia Bernal, Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, played by Oscar Isaac, and Man-Thing, voiced by D. Bradley Baker, about her vision and tells them that they must gather their allies and take action immediately. With this, he watches a group of allies are gathered in New Orleans, with the team consisting of Elsa's group, Hannibal King, played by Freddie Stroma, Eric Brooks, aka Blade, played by Mahershala Ali, Johnny Blaze, aka Ghost Rider, played by Amari Hardwick, Danny Ketch, aka Ghost Rider, played by Kader Williams Sterling, Wong, played by Benedict, Leah, played by Charlize Theron, Jericho Drum, aka Brother Voodoo, played by Malachi Kirby, and Stephen Strange, aka Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. After Elsa explains the situation to the group, Strange expresses his uneasiness with the idea of relying on a tip from an unknown voice, but Blade reveals that he has sensed a lot of movement within the vampire community as of late. However, he did not look into it further because his focus was solely on training. This causes Brother Voodoo to lead the group to Marie Laveau, played by Alfre Woodard, who uses her white magic to track the recent movement of vampires, revealing that a large number of them have descended into a singular location in Romania. This gives the group more than enough evidence to believe that the warning Elsa heard was credible, with Strange saying that the group should focus their efforts on taking down Dracula as soon as possible. However, this idea is cut off by Blade, who says that even after he and King trained non-stop for the previous 2 years, he isn't sure if they would even stand a chance against Dracula, and even with the combined power of the entire group, they still might not be a match for the Vampire King. This causes Laveau to bring up something that could end the conflict quickly, but would come with a great cost, informing the group of a spell known as the Montesi Formula. Laveau learned the spell from her former mentor, Mama Jumbo, who said that the spell was kept in the Darkhold and could be used to kill all living vampires. If they used the spell, Dracula will be killed, but Blade and King would also be killed in the process. Strange stops the discussion by saying that there is no way they could use the Montesi formula, as the location of the Darkhold is currently unknown, but Elsa cuts off Strange, revealing that part of the Montesi formula is inscribed on the pages of the Darkhold that her father left her at the time of his death. As Elsa says this, Blaze also tells the group that while he worked for Mephisto, he distinctly remembers him having a few loose pages of the Darkhold as well, theorizing that potentially the pages Mephisto kept separate from the Darkhold contained the missing portion of the Montesi formula, essentially preventing any powerful magic user from wielding the power to take down his most powerful ally. After Blade and King argue against the use of the Montesi formula, a compromise is reached. A few members of the group will travel to Romania in order to confront Dracula head-on, while the other members of the group will travel to the Hell Dimension in order to recover the missing pages of the Darkhold. If the group heading to Romania is unable to defeat Dracula, then the Montesi formula will be used as a last resort. Additionally, Laveau will transport allies of the group, such as Lucas Cross, played by Delroy Lindo, Roxanne Simpson, played by Raki Trakrar, and Barbara Ketch, played by Patricia Allison, to Kamartaj for safety until the conflict is over. With this, the two groups are formed. The team going to Romania to confront Dracula, consisting of Elsa Bloodstone, Jack Russell, Brother Voodoo, Moon Knight Blade, and Hannibal King, while the group traveling to the Hell Dimension includes Doctor Strange, Wong, Clea, Man-Thing, Johnny Blaze, and Danny Ketch.
You know what's really savvy? Comparing your insurance with Go.Compare. Car, home, travel, pet.
Hey kids, Damados.
You can't skip this ad. So while I enjoy this cuppa, why not do the smart thing? Sort your insurance at Go.Compare. Now that's savvy.
As the Dracula task force arrives at Bram Castle, we are shown that Moon Knight, Blade, and King have upgraded weaponry and armor modeled from the Netheranium given to Moon Knight by Hellstrom. As the group seek to enter the castle, they spy the head of Varney placed on a stake outside. And as the group enters, Brother Voodoo makes use of his smoke illusion to get the group through the entrance of the castle undetected, as we see hundreds of vampires residing within the castle. This is when the group comes face to face with familiar faces, the three children of Dracula. Jonas, played by Chance Crawford, Lilith, played by Morfred Clark, and Zanus, played by Stephen Manus. Jonas asks Blade if he has decided to join the growing number of retainers who agreed to serve his father in exchange for benefits once he has conquered the world. Blade cackles with laughter at this proposition as he, King, Voodoo, and Moon Knight begin scuffling with the vampires, attempting to buy Elsa and Jack enough time to make their way towards the throne room. As the duo dash through the scuffle, they are confronted by a vampire, which gives Elsa enough time to show off an interesting new ability. Using the Bloodstone, she's able to cause Jack to transform into Werewolf by Night, despite the fact the moon isn't full. After Werewolf by Night tears through the lowly vampire, he and Elsa make their way to the throne room as chaos erupts within the walls of Bran Castle. Doctor Strange's group managed to gain entry to the Hell Dimension thanks to the Book of Vishanti. The book recovered from the Hell Dimension by Wanda and given to Strange that houses extremely powerful spells and gives him the answer to any question he might have. As the group descends into the Hell Dimension, we watch as various fights break out, such as Johnny Blaze facing Enio, played by Melissa Roxburgh, Emio, played by Leo Woodall, and the Fallen Angels, along with Danny Ketch facing his old friend Steve Levins, aka Jack-O-Lantern, played by Joe Seo in Limbo, Wong facing off with Asmodus, played by Jamie Foxx, and Man-Thing taking on both Blackheart, played by Connor Swindles, and Malevolence, played by Maya Hawke in Lust. As Strange and Clea reach Gluttony, the third circle of Hell, the duo come face to face with the King of Hell, Mephisto, played by Wes Bentley, who comments that it has been quite some time since he had the honor of looking the individual who holds the title of Sorcerer Supreme in the eye. Strange cuts the small talk and demands that Mephisto hand over the missing page of the Darkhold before Strange forces him to, which causes Mephisto to laugh, asking Strange if this is how the Protector of the Prime Dimension should thank him after years of peace. Despite Mephisto constantly being one bad day away from destroying the dimension Strange is sworn to protect. As he says this, Clea spots the missing pages of the Darkhold sitting on the arm of Mephisto's throne, which results in a short battle between the Sorcerer Supreme and the King of Hell. Despite Mephisto's otherworldly strength, Strange shows off how much he has improved, sending Mephisto away through a portal that leads to the bottom of the Arctic Ocean. Quickly grabbing the missing page of the Darkhold, he and Clea rush to regroup with Wong, Man-Thing, and the Ghost Riders in order to make their way to Bran Castle. Back in Bran Castle, we watch as Elsa and Jack manage to reach the throne room at the top of the castle, where they come face to face with the new king of the vampires, Dracula. Dracula laughs at the prospect that two non-vampires wish to challenge him to a duel, warning that their willingness to get him to rise from his seat might result in the eradication of humanity. Elsa tells Dracula that he should stand. Her name is Elsa Bloodstone, the daughter of the famed monster hunter and the woman who was sent to finish her father's hunt. Dracula begins to laugh hysterically, recalling the world-famous hunter who he killed many years ago, but tells Elsa that he does not understand what the big deal is. It is natural ecology that the predator always defeats the weaker prey. The only reason vampires have not cemented their status as top predators until now is due to Varney's inaction. But now that Varney is gone and he has become the most powerful vampire, vampires are ready to become the apex predators humanity fears. As Dracula stands and launches himself at Elsa, something strange happens. We watch as the light erupts from the Bloodstone as both Elsa and Jack are covered in purple light, giving both of them the power to force Dracula back. Confused Dracula smiles in anticipation for the upcoming battle, as in the entryway we watch as Strange's group exit a portal and arrive at Bran Castle. Back in the Hell Dimension, we watch as Mephisto returns to Gluttony through the use of magic, discovering that his forces weren't able to stop the Sorcerer Supreme's allies, and worse, the pages of the Darkhold were stolen, and angry Mephisto chastises his underlings, saying that he has waited years for chaos to break out, and if the Sorcerer Supreme manages to take out his agent of chaos, he will never forgive them, taking out his anger by brutally burning Jack-O-Lantern to death, before announcing that he will be traveling to Bran Castle to ensure Dracula survives a bout with the Sorcerer Supreme. With this, we watch as Mephisto leads Asmodeus, Blackheart, Malevolence, and the Fallen Angels towards Bran Castle, opening up a portal with his magic to travel instantly. At Bran Castle, we see Strange fight through the chaos in order to locate Drum, asking him about Elsa and how the effort to stop Dracula has gone. Drum says that Elsa and Jack went to confront Dracula directly, but before Strange can react, he watches the missing pages of the Darkhold he recovered from Hell burn up in his hand. We see Mephisto and his forces arrive at the castle, with Mephisto laughing hysterically at Strange, saying that if the Sorcerer Supreme wanted to bring down the King of Hell, he should have been quicker than that. With this, Mephisto teleports to the throne room as Mephisto's forces join Dracula's forces to clash with Elsa's group of heroes, who now no longer have the ability to use the Montesi formula in order to defeat Dracula. As Mephisto teleports into the throne room, we see that the fight between Dracula and Elsa has reached a stalemate. While Dracula has not been able to kill either Elsa or Jack, the duo haven't been able to cause Dracula substantial harm either. Mephisto asks Dracula why he is struggling with a mere human and werewolf before noticing the Bloodstone, laughing hysterically and telling Dracula that he understands completely now, revealing that the Bloodstone contains a small part of the elder goddess Osther, the artifact she left behind when she died. Mephisto reveals that each of the 4 elder gods left behind an artifact to help humanity after their passing. Set left behind the Serpent Crown, a crown with no innate powers that was meant to be used as a symbol of worship for his followers. Chthon left behind the Darkhold, the book in which his essence was trapped after his battle with Osther and Agamotto, and would serve as a guide for his followers to eventually recreate the world. Osther left behind the Bloodstone, a stone containing part of her soul that could be used to counteract Chthon if he ever managed to escape the Darkhold. And Gaia left behind the Amulet of Right, an amulet that grants its user incredible power. Mephisto says that he was never too concerned about the Bloodstone, as using its power would require incredible resolve. As for most people, Osther's power would cause their body to collapse and shrivel into nothingness. But after expressing his interest in Elsa, he tells Dracula that if the two of them work together, not even the remaining power of Osther could bring them down. With this, Mephisto joins in the effort against Elsa and Jack as he and Dracula begin to gain the upper hand. We then watch as various smaller battles occur throughout Bran Castle, including Danny Ketch using the Blight Blade to finally kill Blackheart, seeking to avenge Levens in the process, Blade facing Jonas in a duel and killing him, Moon Knight defeating Zarus, Hannibal King defeating Lilith, Clea killing Anile, and Wong killing Emil. In the midst of the chaos, Asmodeus grabs Malevolence and tells her that the duo must escape the fight and retreat back to the Hell Dimension. And despite the protests of Malevolence, Asmodeus screams at her, saying that she is the heir to the throne, and should this fight not go according to plan, he can't risk her being taken out and Hell lacking a ruler. As Asmodeus and Malevolence return to the Hell Dimension, we cut back to the throne room as we see the purple light that once covered both Elsa and Jack beginning to fade, as the duo find themselves unable to withstand the onslaught of attacks from Mephisto and Dracula. Mephisto cackles at the sight, telling Elsa that Osther's power can only be wielded by an individual with strong conviction. Saying that when she entered, she not only had the desire to kill Dracula, but also firmly believed that she was capable of doing so. But now, after seeing the power that the duo possesses, that belief in herself is fading, mocking her by saying that she will soon be the second member of the Bloodstone family to fail to complete their hunt. As Dracula brandishes his sword above Elsa and prepares to stab her, we watch as a silver arrow is thrown and hits Dracula directly in the eye, causing him to stumble backwards. With this, we watch as Blade and Johnny approach Mephisto and Dracula, with Blade saying that the arrow was a gift sent from Rachel. As Mephisto heals Dracula's eye, the two look at one another before charging at Blade and Johnny as Elsa grabs Jack, who is transformed back into his human form as she attempts to crawl away from the conflict. We then watch Ghost Rider and Blade team up to fight Mephisto and Dracula, with both sides taking out their hatred and pent-up anger against the other. Mephisto expresses his surprise with how well a mere Dhampir is keeping up with Dracula, but Dracula reveals that not only are Dhampirs naturally stronger than vampires, but unlike other vampires, Dhampirs are still able to release adrenaline into their bloodstream when they are confronted with life-threatening situations, which allows Blade to multiply his strength to levels way beyond his actual capabilities in intense situations such as these. Blade and Ghost Rider manage to put up a good fight, with Ghost Rider's Spirit of Vengeance kicking in as he attempts to perform the penance stare on Mephisto before his head is bashed by Dracula, as Blaze falls out of his Ghost Rider form. Before we watch Dracula send a powerful energy shot from his blade that seemingly kills both Blaze and Blade in an instant. Dracula celebrates his victory as Mephisto tells him not to get a big head, as this is nothing more than an illusion, as we quickly see that the death of the duo was nothing more than a smoke illusion created by Brother Voodoo, who thanks both Blade and Blaze for stepping in to protect Elsa, telling them that they put up a good fight, but now it is time for him to end the conflict. Brother Voodoo puts up a good showing against Mephisto and Dracula, showing that he is close to the level of magical mastery as Doctor Strange, but he, on his own, isn't enough to defeat the duo. Sighing, he admits that he must use the power of necromancy in order to defeat the duo. We then watch as Drum creates a magic barrier to protect him from Dracula and Mephisto as he temporarily uses white magic to perform powerful necromancy in order to summon the spirits of the dead to aid in his fight. We then watch as Drum is transported into a spiritual dimension where he comes face to face with two familiar faces. His brother, Daniel Drum, played by Cinqua Walls, and his former master, Charles Lejeune, aka Papa Jumbo, played by Yvonne Jourdan. Brother Voodoo sits in shock, unable to speak at the sight, before Papa Jumbo expresses how proud he is of Jericho for all he has accomplished. But Daniel cuts him off, expressing his frustration with the fact that this is the first time Jericho has attempted to communicate with the duo, asking his brother why he didn't reach out to them until now. This causes Jericho to break down, revealing to Daniel and Jumbo that this entire time he has felt responsible for their deaths. If he had been strong enough, or if he could have trained harder, he could have prevented their deaths at the hands of Damballa. And despite the fact that he eventually did kill Damballa, the guilt of their deaths continues to haunt him to this day. So instead of continuing the use of necromancy, he heavily restricted the practice, primarily to prevent himself from facing the duo in the spiritual plane. Both Daniel and Jumbo comfort Jericho, telling him that the blood of their sacrifices were not on his hands. They were on the hands of the monster that he slain in order to avenge them, telling him that they are both willing to lend him their power in order to save the world. Warning him, however, that using both of their powers at once will come at a great cost. The vast amount of spiritual power Jericho will receive will come with a time limit, a minute at max, meaning that he will need to end the conflict before the time limit expires, and if he fails to do so, he will be left vulnerable and open to an attack. Jericho accepts the risk as we watch the magic barrier used to protect him from Dracula Mephisto explode. As the two watch in awe as Brother Voodoo floats in front of them, radiating spiritual power as his body emits a strong white light. Brother Voodoo proceeds to unleash a powerful flurry of white magic on both Dracula and Mephisto, enough to cause both Dracula and Mephisto to begin to fear that they might be outmatched. However, before he can finish the job, the time limit on the powers granted by Daniel and Jumbo is exceeded, and Jericho falls to the ground, passed out, with his body barely able to handle the heightened amount of spiritual power granted by his brother and mentor. As Dracula and Mephisto regain their wits, Dracula laughs and says that he never thought that creatures could exist that could impress him as much as this. Yet, here he is, gasping for air and feeling pain for the first time since he was beaten by Varney. As Dracula approaches the unconscious Drum, he watches Strange slowly walks up the stairs and tells Dracula not to move another inch, forming a portal and transporting Drum's body to Elsa and Jack, as he tells Drum that he did well, but unfortunately, this was never his fight. Mephisto snarls at Strange, saying that the legacy of the Sorcerer Supreme is one of failure and disappointment, poking fun of the fact that the first Sorcerer Supreme, Agamotto, couldn't even kill Chthon. Strange tells Mephisto not to confuse him with the past Sorcerer Supremes, quickly unleashing the 7 sons of Cenobus on both Mephisto and Dracula, which caused Mephisto to laugh and comment, "Oh, the Sons of Midnight. These sons must represent your will, your very desire to see this conflict end. Well, unfortunately for you, Sorcerer Supreme, there will be no light when we are finished with you." And with this, he watches the suns explode on both Mephisto and Dracula, having little effect as Doctor Strange faces the two monsters head-on. While Doctor Strange performs valiantly, the combined power of Mephisto and Dracula is too much for even the Sorcerer Supreme to withstand. Strange falls to the ground, his cloak ripped and his face bloodied, with both Mephisto and Dracula approaching him with the intent to kill. Strange quickly pulls out the Book of Ashanti and asks what he needs to defeat the duo. And much to Strange's surprise, the book appears transparent, as his reflection is the only thing seen within the pages of the book. Strange reflects on his life. When he was a surgeon, he was confident and cocky. And even after his accident, he never wavered in his self-belief and self-confidence. But then, he failed to stop Thanos, was embarrassed and unable to act when coming face-to-face with Dormammu, and couldn't so much as injure the Molecule Man. His confidence has been shaken by his failure. Strange then hears the voice of the Ancient One, reminding him that he was supposed to be the best of the Sorcerer Supremes. As Strange reflects on all of his victories, the years of training he endured, and the countless lives he fought to protect over the years. As this reflection ends, we can tell that something inside Strange has changed. He stands with confidence, facing Dracula and Mephisto with a smile, apologizing to them for the lackluster performance they witnessed moments ago, for the power Strange showed was not up to the standard of the person who holds the title of Sorcerer Supreme. We then watch as Doctor Strange unleashes the full extent of the abilities he honed as a Sorcerer Supreme, literally causing the ground to shake and absolutely obliterating Dracula and Mephisto. This catches the attention of the other heroes, who all make their way to the top of the castle to see the spectacle with their own eyes. After a while of fighting, Strange makes a startling discovery. Because both Mephisto and Dracula are nearly immortal, regardless of how powerful his attacks are, he will not be able to kill them. Strange decides to make a call to save the world, deciding to open up a portal to the Null Dimension, intending to sacrifice himself to stop Mephisto and Dracula. If he can manage to trap them inside the Null Dimension, in order to be filled with creatures that feed on life energy, the three of them will be trapped for eternity and lack the necessary energy to escape. As he prepares to make the sacrifice, Strange leaves his friends with 3 wishes. For Elsa, he wants her to give Wanda the remaining torn pages of the Darkhold. He doesn't know the specifics, but somehow, someway, he knows that she will one day be the one to save the Prime Dimension. For Jericho, he wishes that he succeed him as the new Sorcerer Supreme, and for Clea, he thanks her for loving him all this time. As Strange prepares the spell, he looks towards Wong, his best friend and the man who has stuck with him through thick and thin, and mutters a simple phrase, "Thank you, my friend." With this, Strange uses the remainder of his energy as he traps himself, Mephisto, and Dracula within the Null Dimension, ending the conflict and sacrificing himself in the process. The ending of the project.
We lost Doctor Strange, but we lost Ray, Tank, Tony, Daredevil, Thor, and Spider-Man, and other characters like Magneto and others, and Red Guard is sad.
The aftermath of the conflict, including the remaining followers of Dracula Mephisto fleeing, Brother Voodoo officially being named the new Sorcerer Supreme of the Prime Dimension, while also relinquishing the title as Hanukkah Supreme and giving it to Marie LaVue. We also see a funeral held for Strange, where we see Elsa give Wanda the remaining pages of the Darkhold. But we also see Wanda pay her respects to her former master. The last shot of the project shows Blade, Blaze, Ketch, Russell, Moon Knight, and King all discussing the events of the project, with Blade commenting that perhaps working with people other than the Night Stalkers wasn't as bad as he thought. Blaze then brings up the idea that dark forces will still be in play despite Mephisto's defeat, and it would be a good idea to have a team ready in case dark forces attempt to attack humanity. With this, the survivors of the project agree to work together to protect humanity from vampires, monsters, and any other dark forces that threaten humanity. Officially forming a team whose name was inspired by the 7 sons of Cenobus, the Midnight Sons. In the post-credit scene, we cut inside the dark dimension of Universe 0139 as we see a large number of deceased Faltine soldiers. It appears that a conflict just concluded within the dimension. As we cut inside Dormammu's castle, we see his corpse on the ground, as a being known as a Beyonder, played by Bill Skarsgård, stands above him, having just killed the Faltine King. To the side, we see those who witnessed the fall of the king. Reed Richards of Universe 1610, otherwise known as the Maker, played by Adam Driver. Nathaniel Richards of Universe 1, otherwise known as Kang the Conqueror, played by Nakuti Gatwa. Molecule Man, played by Matt Smith. And Victor Von Doom, aka Dr. Doom, played by Cillian Murphy. Dr. Doom stands in complete silence, the man who is never impressed with the achievements of others, left in complete silence over the power shown by the Beyonder. Maker asks Doom if he will finally agree to place his trust in the Beyonder, with Doom silently nodding, leading Maker to run through the group's plan. Through the power of the Beyonder, they will form one singular and perfect universe, a place free from the filth that plagues their individual universes. Filth in the mind of the Beyonder being those who he and the other members of the group do not see value in. After destroying all other universes, this singular universe will be ruled by the Beyonder, with Doom and the Maker serving as his executive assistants. The Molecule Men and his variants will be tasked with governing over the different areas of this new world, while the Kangs will monitor the civilians to ensure they are acting in a proper manner. With this, the Maker lays out the next steps for their plan to be achieved. For the Beyonder begins creating his new universe and destroying the others. The Council of Kangs will travel to each universe and find interesting heroes who will serve as entertainment for the Beyonder in his new universe. While Molecule Man will find humans with excellent genetic and biological features who will be brought to live in this new universe to help foster a biologically perfect population. As the group nods in understanding, the Maker ends his speech with this. Oh, and we each have one final objective as well. In order to ensure that this mission is successful, I consulted with the King of Hell from my universe, and asked him if there were any beings who had the power or potential to kill the Beyonder. Much to my chagrin, he said that there were 2 beings who contained such power. The beings known as the Guardian of the Nexus of all realities, and the Starling. On top of your other objectives, we must find these 2 beings and kill them. For our future king and his perfect universe depend on their eradication. And that is Phase 8. I know that Phase 8 has
Yay.
probably been one of the more spaced out.
So that's the finish of Phase 8 projects, yes. So it's been then 10 projects of Phase 8, yes. We forgot to begin the video before we watched that. Project number 9 is Spider-Woman. Project number 10 is Midnight Sun, yeah. So I can't really go and see his PS3. PS9, yeah. So he posted his community post on yesterday, which I'll show you. So it will release on Rebooted MCU Phase 9. The project number 1 will be on this Saturday, the 31st of January. So that's this Saturday, yeah. So which he said the beginning of end is near, but it's going to be sad to be end of maybe the MCU. But it's good time for that, yeah. And I comment on his. He said, I'm said, oh yes, I can wait. And I'm asking how many projects in part 1. I was told him said just 1 or 2 or 3, and then he comment said just 1. Captain Marvel Final Stand, which will be in the first project of Phase 9. Yeah. And then after that, he posted another community post on, yesterday, I think, yeah. So he posted the both Inhuman in the battle and rounds, and She-Hulk had been writing. He said he and her had the third with his MCU first time in a long time. It's good for you, and stay tuned with the start of Phase 9 this weekend, yes, which should be coming on this Saturday. So hope you enjoy all my reaction of Phase 8, yeah. So anyway, so the next video will be which should be on this Friday, because I'm going to shop on this Friday. So I'm going to show you why I got a new pickup. So I'll see you this Friday. So see you Friday. Bye bye.